Welcome back to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports. Before the break in segment one, we were talking about Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. I tried to negotiate my salary to get closer to that $5 million mark, but I was unsuccessful during the break, so I'm going to have to keep working on that.
We agreed on $65 a year, and that would work out perfect.
I have got to get a better agent or work on my negotiating skills. So that's what I know about that. We're going to talk about the Indiana Fever and Dallas Clark. Wow.
Dallas Clark would be an old player from the San Francisco 49ers.
Now that's impressive that you can pull anything like that out of your brain.
He's a legendary player, but yes, that's who Dallas Clark is.
That is not what we're talking about. The Indiana Fever's season has started off rocky, akin to a UPS service inundated with complaints, unable to catch a break amid a pile of early struggles. At the center of this turbulent start is rookie sensation Caitlin Clark, whose performance has been a roller coaster. Clark, fresh from Iowa, has shown flashes of brilliance, but also faced inconsistency, typical for a newcomer adjusting to the WNBA. Clark's scoring has been erratic, oscillating between modest single-digit games and explosive performances, such as her recent 30-point outburst against the Los Angeles Sparks. Despite the Fever's 88-82 loss, Clark's stat line was impressive, adding 6 assists and 5 rebounds to her scoring spree. Post-game, Clark attributed her success to playing with an aggressive mindset, a promising sign for her potential to become a consistent offensive threat. However, Clark's shooting percentages tell a different story. She is currently hitting less than 38% from the field and three-point range, from both the field and the three-point range. This shooting slump is compounded by the struggles of her teammates. Notably, Aaliyah Boston, expected to be a reliable scorer, has averaged just over 10 points per game in the early stages of the season. The Fever's tough schedule has not made Clark's transition to the professional level any easier. Early matchups against top-tier teams like the Las Vegas Aces, Connecticut Sun, and New York Liberty have thrown Clark into the deep end of the WNBA competition. Yet despite these challenges, she continues to show resilience and flashes of the talent that made her a standout in college. As Clark becomes more accustomed to the defensive schemes she faces in the WNBA, there is optimism that her high-scoring games will become more frequent. The Fever and their fans hope that Clark's aggressive approach and growing experience will help turn their season around and bring more consistent performances from the team as a whole. So, Tate, what do you think? We're early in the season. It is her first season. Too much pressure? What are you thinking?
No, I don't think it's anything to do with pressure. I feel like Caitlin Clark gets a lot of heat thrown her way, which I think is totally unjustified. I think there's a subset out there that want to see her fail, which is disappointing, and that's within the WNBA community and outside. I've had conversations with people outside of the WNBA, and it's kind of like the whole. There's not a lot of either you're a fan or you're for or you're against her. There's not a lot of gray area with her. And I don't understand why there's this whole subset that is like pushing her. I mean, like throwing a lot of shade her way. And they're looking for reasons to report how she's doing so bad. But she's not. She is not doing bad at all. She was the #1 pick in the WNBA draft. You want to know why the Indiana Fever had the #1 pick in the draft? Do you know the answer, Sarah?
I do not know the answer.
Because they were absolutely the worst team in the NBA.
Okay, that makes sense.
Guess what? They were the worst team before that. They haven't been a great team. They don't have a lot of talent on that team. Okay, then you mix in, they've had, start the year off, maybe the toughest schedule in the WNBA. So, bad team, really tough schedule. The #3, Caitlin Clark is a rookie, a brand new rookie, just getting used to the WNBA. So bad team, tough schedule, learning the WNBA. And you know what she's done? She's had some huge games. She's had some not so great games. but that's kind of what you expect from a rookie. I remember when Victor Wembanyama had his very first game, they were bashing him. He's trash. Get him out of here. Well, guess what? Rookie of the year, and in my opinion, he was Defensive Player of the Year. Given time, he got better and better, made the adjustment, and ended up having an amazing year. Caitlin Clark is no different. She's going to adjust. She's going to get better. But when you're on such a team that, I'm not meaning to say bad things about her teammates, but they're not high-level teammates. They're not shooting great. They're not just overall. They're just not a great team. When you have a team that doesn't have a supporting cast around it, it's a lot easier to trap, double team, and scheme against a one-dimensional team. And that one dimension is Caitlin Clark. So it's easy to double Caitlin Clark. It's easy to box her in when there's no one else out there. The thing that made Caitlin Clark so good is the fact that, kind of like Jokic, if you double team Jokic will pass you to death. He can pass and find that open man. Well, Caitlin Clark, you double her, and that open person isn't very good. I mean, they're okay, but not great. She's Batman. She's going to be a future Batman. Give her a Robin, a Batgirl, a Chia Pet. Give her something that she can work with that can give additional scoring and take some of the pressure off of her. It's easy to scheme and shut Caitlin Clark down. If you're a decent coach and you're going into playing the Indiana Fever and you know they only have a one-trick pony, and that is Caitlin Clark, it is super easy to target that person, shut them down, and she's not going to have that spectacular year. She needs more help. That's not going to be this year. There's growing pains with being a number one pick means you are going to go to a bad team. So what you have to do is, they're going to be bad this year. It's actually a good thing for them. Let them be bad this year, because then you're in the number one pick in the WNBA draft next year, or you're one of the top 3 or 4 picks, and now you can partner Caitlin Clark with someone else that can kind of fit the role with them, and that's how they're going to build their team. They're going to make adjustments throughout the season. They're going to bring in new pieces next year, and she'll have a better year. As they add more pieces, the better she gets. When you come back next year, it'll be a different story. What I've seen is a woman that can perform, like we were just talking about here. She's already had a 30-point performance. She's had a number of 20-point performances. She's had some low games as well. That is normal. I don't have a problem with it.
It does bring up an interesting point, though, because as you mentioned, number one picks often go to that worst team, and yet there's so many expectations. There is so much pressure placed on someone like Victor Wembanyama or Caitlin Clark, who have a reputation before they start playing, and they're playing in a completely new area. They're now, they've moved from college or where they were playing before to the NBA or the WNBA. That's a lot of hype and a lot of pressure for anyone to try to live up to.
Absolutely it is. And I'm just looking something up here just to kind of give you an understanding of there. Victor Wembanyama. We all know he had a great year. Rookie of the year, could have been Defensive Player of the Year. And what was his record? They ended up with 22 wins and 60 losses. They had the second worst record in the Western Conference. They were next to last behind the Trailblazers, which was they were behind by 1 game.
Wow. Yeah, you can't expect one player to just magically turn everything around.
Even when you have Victor Wembanyama, and we know he's a phenom. That means if you put a phenom on an incredibly bad team, they're still going to be a bad team. Caitlin Clark is a phenom on a bad team. She's going to have a similar year like Victor Wembanyama. But know what? Victor's going to get more players. They're going to get adjustment. They're going to draft more players. They'll be better next year. The same as Caitlin Clark. It's no different to me. Does that give you a little more perspective when I point out Victor Wembanyama? You know, rookie of the year, one of the top defensive players in the year in the league, and then you look at 22 and 60 was his record. Would you say his year was a bust? Because I wouldn't. I'd say he's exceeded expectations on an incredibly bad team, just like Caitlin Clark is exceeding expectations on an incredibly bad team. That's where I see it.
Well, it'll be interesting to see as the season wraps up later in the year what people are saying then, you know, as she has progressed, and are they giving her that benefit of the doubt and with it?
Yeah, she's going to have, I mean, and that's one of the problems is there's so much expectation on her. And that's the thing. There was a lot of expectation on Victor Wembanyama. But Victor Wembanyama doesn't have the level of hate as well. I do feel like there's a lot of, I don't know if it's hate, jealousy, or what it is, but there are a lot of people that have very strong negative and positive feelings for Caitlin. And it's partially because it's kind of like they feel like she's getting too much attention where other women are not getting the same attention. Well, guess what? She's getting this huge attention. Ratings are through the roof. They've increased, I think, like 2 or 3 fold. It would take the NBA, I think they were figuring out at the current rate that the WNBA was increasing, Caitlin Clark coming there is equivalent of taking 5 years to get to this point.
I saw something similar, yeah.
Yes, Caitlin is good. The Caitlin effect is a real thing. And it helps these women get notarized, more television views, better ticket sales, all of this. It's a good thing. I love, someone else said, when people are complaining about how much attention Caitlin gets, Caitlin is getting the absolute right amount of attention because sponsors and advertisers and network partners aren't going to put her on unless there's butts in the seat and eyes on the TV screen. Yep. And she's getting them. And that's good for the WNBA.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to wrap this segment up. We're going to stick with basketball when we come back, but moving to the NBA draft and Bronny James, excuse me.
Whoa.
No.
Got a little choked up. She got a little choked up over Bronny James, you know.
Got a little choked up. I feel like I swallowed a bug.
Oh, God dang.
I didn't swallow a bug, but yeah, we'll be talking about Bronny James declaring for the NBA draft, and I'm going to go try to not choke during the break. You are tuned into the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports, and we will be right back.